You know, some words are just there. Take sand, for example. You see it at the beach, you know what it is, end of story, right? But what if I told you that hidden inside its super simple dictionary definition, there's a clue, a breadcrumb trail, that leads to this huge, ambitious project to basically redesign the entire English language? Come on, let's dig in.
So yeah, that's the big question, right? How much can one little word really teach us? Turns out, a whole lot. We are literally going to unpack a wild piece of language history just by looking at a single dictionary page. And here's the roadmap for how we're going to do it.
Okay, so first we'll just get on the same page, a look at the basics of sand and the different jobs it does in a sentence. Then we'll check out its family tree, all the words related to it. But then, and this is where it gets good, we're going to stumble upon this weird little clue. A clue that's going to lead us to the big reveal, this thing called basic English.
All right, so first things first. Before we can solve the mystery, we've got to know our main character, right? So let's put the word sand under the microscope and start with the stuff we all think we know.
And get this is our only source, our one and only piece of evidence for this whole thing. Everything we're about to figure out comes from this one single web page, the Simple English Wiktionary page for sand. That's it. No books, no experts. All the clues are just sitting right here.
Okay, so when we pull up this super simple page, what's the first thing that jumps out? Well, it's that sand isn't just sand. It's a word that wears two totally different hats. First up is the hat we're all familiar with. Sand, the stuff. An uncountable noun. It's that huge mass of tiny rock grains. The example they give is perfect. Jane goes to the beach, lies on the sand. You can't count it, right? You don't say, I have 3 sands in my pocket. It's just sand. But, and this is a cool little detail, the dictionary also calls it a countable noun. In this case, you're talking about a single tiny grain, like when you get a sand in your eye. It feels like a tiny difference, but grammatically, it's a whole different thing.
And now for the second hat, which is, completely different. Sand is also a verb, an action word. Like, I need to sand this piece of wood until it's smooth. It's what you do with sandpaper. Same 4 letters, but a completely different job. So let's just recap that. You've got sand, the noun, it's a thing, the stuff that makes up beaches, and then you have sand, the verb. It's an action, something you do. This kind of flexibility is exactly what makes English so rich and, sometimes a little confusing. Okay, so sand can be a thing or an action. We got it. But its story doesn't end there. It's kind of like the head of a family. Let's meet some of its relatives, all the other words that are built from this one simple root.
So, when sand is a noun, it just explodes into all these other cool words. You've got real, physical things like a sandbank or a sandbox, even the sandpaper we talked about. And then it gets into imagination and folklore with the sandman. Every single one of these words paints a picture, and they all grow from that one simple idea of sand.
The verb side of the family is a lot smaller, but it's super logical. If the action is to sand, what's the tool you use? A sander. See? The action creates the name for the tool. Pretty neat. All right, so far so good. This is all pretty standard dictionary stuff, right? Nouns, verbs, related words. But this is where things take a really interesting turn. This is where the detective work begins. Because while I was looking at that page, I spotted something. Something that didn't quite fit. A clue, hiding in plain sight. And there it is, just sitting there right at the top of the page, a little sentence that says sand is on the basic English 850 list. And I just stopped and thought, what on earth is that? It's not a definition. It's not where the word came from. It's some kind of label. What is this list?
And it's not just a one-off comment. If you scroll way, way down to the bottom of the page, in the categories section, you see this little tag, BE 850. The same letters, the same number. Okay, now we know it's not a mistake. This is a deliberate breadcrumb, and it's pointing to something way bigger.
So this is it. This is the big question that our whole investigation hinges on now. What is the Basic English 850 list? That one little note tucked away on a web page about sand is about to blow this whole thing wide open. And that leads us right into our final section. Time to unlock this secret. Let's find out what Basic English is all about. It all comes down to this number, 850. It's not just a random number they pulled out of a hat. It is the specific, exact number of words at the heart of a really fascinating project in the history of language. And here it is, the answer to our mystery.
Basic English is a stripped-down, simplified version of the entire English language built on a foundation of just 850 essential words. And our humble word sand was one of them. It made the list. It was considered absolutely essential for basic communication. So, why would anyone do this? Well, the whole goal was to create a version of English that was super easy for anyone in the world to learn. The dream was that with just this core vocabulary of 850 words, you could talk about big ideas in business or science or whatever and make global communication a whole lot easier.
I mean, just think about where we started. We started with sand, the stuff between your toes at the beach. And just by following one tiny clue on one simple web page, we ended up uncovering this whole grand, ambitious plan to reshape the English language for the entire planet. That's pretty wild.
So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. If you can get by, have functional conversations with just 850 words, then what about all the rest? All the hundreds of thousands of other words in English? What are they even for? Maybe they're not just for getting an idea across. Maybe they're for art and poetry, for getting an idea across perfectly, for showing who we are. It's something to think about, isn't it? Thanks for joining me on this one.